My name is Jason Simard, and I am the founder of Sims Coaching Systems. I'm here with my co-founder, Joe Moretti, and we're here on the Seven Figure Real Estate Podcast, the podcast you didn't know you even needed. Everyone, get your notepads out. Let's go. We're going to bring you value week over week, and we're actually going to be a lot of fun, and we hope to make you laugh out loud. Subscribe to our channel. Check the content out. If you're looking to take this to a whole nother level, we got you covered. All right, guys, episode 5, the Joe Schmo Show. I just make that up every time.
Back at it again.
It's the seven-figure podcast that you didn't know that you needed, but you should tune in and pay attention. Joe Moretti, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm kind of coming down with something. I've been down and out for the last couple of days. Never phoned it in sick, so I'll make sure I'm going to give it to everybody else, but I'm showing up.
You know what? Sharing is caring. Joe, you're looking California, feeling Minnesota?
I always say that, man. In the immortal words of the warrior poet Chris Cornell, looking California, feeling Minnesota.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, good, man. We, you and I had a little bit of a debate this week. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about mistakes people make as a kid. You know, some people did things like steal or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm pretty strict on that. Like for me, theft is just like something that I really struggle with. For me, it's just, I don't know. I've stolen one thing in my life. I was 5 years old. It was a little green snake at this like museum. And
Should we just check the statute of limitations on this really quickly?
Yeah, I probably should talk to my lawyer before I tell the story. But I was 5, and I took this snake, and I still feel guilty about that to this day, to be honest with you. And I know you're a little more relaxed and giving people a pass on that, but for me, your personal brand starts at an early age. And it leads to a story that you actually can relate to when you were new to a high school. And I actually think it's important for people to pay attention to this because we have sons that are in high school right now, and you have your daughter there too. And we're kind of talking about how do we guide them. I'm not a big believer in the school system. Unless you're going to school to be a doctor, a lawyer, you have some very clear purpose. Go learn how to read, learn how to write, do some basic math,
learn skills.
Yeah. But you got to go there and learn how to manage people. I think it's your networks, right? How do you lead with networks? Are you friends with the nerdy guy in class? Because that guy could become very useful later on, right? How did you make people feel is really, really critical. And I think it'll pay off later in life. And I don't think that people realize the impact that they have in the words that they use and the actions that they take and the impact they have on people years later. So I know you have a story from high school, and I'd love to hear it, Joe, because I think it's really ties into the theme of what we're talking about today, which is your personal brand.
And it's so funny. Like we come in here and we're on episode 5. And we usually come in, there's like a funny story and things like that. But I think this is the first time I've got something that's like, this is legit. This is serious. So I moved to a new town when I was 13. Moved from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, hour and a half up island to Nanaimo. I moved the night before school started. I moved with my dad. My mom stayed in Victoria until the house sold. So my dad and I lived on my aunt and uncle's couch in a basement. And again, I couldn't spell Nanaimo, let alone I had no idea what school I was going to. You want to talk about the definition of anxiety or like fish out of water. So came to Nanaimo on like a Monday night. It was Labor Day weekend. School started Tuesday at 8 a.m. And like, when you go for like a half day sort of thing. So my dad pulls up to the school and he gives me a quarter to call him on the payphone when school's done. I said, Dad, where do I go? He goes, I don't know. And I'm like, well, where's the payphones when I'm done? He's like, go figure it out. Okay, right? So I've got some paper and a pen in my hand, walk towards the office, and I see these giant sheets of paper in the auditorium, excuse me. And I find my name and I find my homeroom, and up we go. And homerooms are all alphabetical, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I go up there and I sit down and just like shaking. I'm so nervous. Teacher comes in and she says, anybody who's new, put up your hand, right? So I put my hand up and she goes, okay, well, I'm going to assign you like a buddy. He's going to make sure you know where like the washrooms are, help you with your locker. And I was like, yes, thank you. Because I like to think I'm fairly adaptable. Like I can be friends with anybody. And so this young guy, same age as me, in grade 9, walks me down to my locker, and he had a Metallica shirt on, and it was I don't know how familiar you are with Metallica album artwork. It was the "And Justice for All" cover.
Okay, yeah.
Where it's got the lady holding the scales, And I hate Metallica. I think I just dropped a major bomb. I hate Metallica.
Yeah, Joe passionately hates Metallica.
I'm just not like a...
And this story might have something to do with that. We'll see.
It might. And so we're walking down, and I'm like, I've got about 30 seconds from when we leave the classroom to the locker that I need to get some rapport, trust, some empathy. Like, I've got no time to waste. So I said, hey, hey, man, love your Metallica shirt. Are you a Metallica fan? He's like, yeah, I love Metallica. I said, hey, you know what? So do I love Metallica. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Shows me where my locker is. It helps me open it up and shows me the washrooms. We go back. Day 1 ends. Day 2 starts. Go back for your first full day. So I'm like bumbling around the school trying to, find where I'm trying to go. And in my mind, I'm like, but at least I have one friend. I got to have a class with this guy at some point. I have got one friend. Lunchtime hits. I grab my lunch, and it was a sandwich that my dad had made me. And I've got my sandwich in my hand, and I've got $1 for a Diet Coke or something. Walk into the lunchroom, and it was a giant cafeteria, and I'd never seen a giant cafeteria before. And so I was looking around because I don't know where to go, what to do, and I see him with a bunch of other dudes. So I walk over and I sit down, and he looks at me. He goes, "What's up?" And I went, "Oh, you know what? Nothing, man. What a day." He's like, "Oh, I think there could be a bit of a problem here." And I said, "Well, what's up?" He's like, "No, we're not friends. The teacher just made me do that. So if you want to just leave, that's cool." And I went, totally understand. So I grabbed my sandwich, I grabbed my loonie, got my Diet Coke, and I walked out of the school. And at that point, I didn't know where I was walking. I didn't know where I was going. I just walked. And that sense, that dark cloud over my head, I can't explain it. So I walked past the tennis courts of the school, up this hill, over these stairs, and I found a vacant curb. And I ate my sandwich on the curb, and I started crying. And I sat there thinking, like, in my old middle school in Victoria, like I ran that school. Like, I was that popular kid, and I'm thinking, what have I done? What's the disconnect? And I ate my sandwich in that spot, in the rain, in the sun, in the wind, in the snow, by myself outside for 3 months until I could find one friend. Now, here's where the story takes a bit of a twist, is that flash forward 25 years later, and I was working in finance. I had a brand new Jeep. I had a Wrangler, beautiful black Wrangler, like a Sahara. It was lifted with blacked out rims. It was maybe 6 months old. Still had a whole bunch of suits that I used to wear from back when I worked at a car dealership. So I was wearing a $4,000 Strelson, blacked out Strelson, like David Beckham model, because back then David Beckham modeled for Strelson. The David Beckham model Strelson suit. I remember pulling and getting gas one day by my house, and my card wouldn't work in the gas pump. So I'm sitting there getting frustrated in this $4,000 suit, in a $75,000 vehicle, and I go walking in, put my card down, and I look up, and it's that guy. And he looks at me, and he goes, Joe, you look like you're doing real well. How are you, man? And in that moment, 2 things could have happened. Number one, because I felt that rage. Like, that rage, I had carried that with me for 25 years, that hurt. And the rage inside me, I ended up suppressing it. And I just said, I'm not going to say his name, but, really great to see you. How are you doing? And he looked at me and he was like, well, it's been tough. It's been tough since high school. And I said, I'm really sad to hear that. And I said, how do you like working here? And he's like, well, I don't really like it. It's not what I want to do. Never figured my shit out. And I said, I'll tell you what. So I gave him one of my cards, circled the number. I said, if you want to get into finance, I want you to call me. I'm going to help you. And in my moment, I don't know if it was a revenge play, because would I have hired him? Who knows? But in my mind, it was the help, the guidance, the assistance, that friendly voice that he never gave me. And for 25 years, I carried that scar. It was, I would say, one of the darkest moments of my life. And I think it just goes to show you, you never know. So it's funny we're talking about brand, because I carried his brand without him even knowing it for 25 years.
It's funny. I always tell my kids, I say, look, you can lift people up or you can pull them down. I said, I want you to remember that every single person that you lift up is going to walk away feeling like, hey, that's a good guy. And they'll remember that for a long time. But if you're that person that pulls them down, makes them feel like worse, like that guy made you feel like you were a nobody, you had nothing, they'll never forget that. And that will affect you later on in your life. And it goes back to this. If you're stealing or you don't pay back your debts that people owe you, you don't do those little things, it builds your brand. And we all know somebody who has borrowed money from them or friends and never paid them back. And
I'm still waiting for that 20 from producer Ryan.
You know, we all know those people.
Yeah.
And their brand is tarnished, right?
It
like,
is.
would you trust them? Would you do business with them? Absolutely not. And one of the things that's helped me a lot in business, Joe, is the fact that in high school, I wasn't the most popular guy. I wasn't the nerdiest guy. I kind of like floated in the middle. I was always an old soul in high school. You know, I got along with a lot of people, but I had a handful of close friends. But I always tried to make everybody feel good that I came in contact with, right? I never wanted to be that guy that people are like, oh, that guy's a motherfucker, you know? And it's crazy because when I got into real estate and I started doing my stuff and putting my content out there, I've had so many people that I wasn't friends with in high school, but remember me as like at least a solid dude that would reach out to me, and I've done business with them. And that sort of compounded into my whole go-giver philosophy. When I started Sim's Real Estate Group, I read the book, The Go-Giver, and it totally resonated with my values, right? It was always about give more in value than you'll ever receive in payment, right? Look to lift people up, right? Help. And I've helped so many people from the side of my desk. And this is even before we started a coaching company and any of that. And I would just genuinely like help people. And I didn't ask for anything. I genuinely just wanted to see people do really, really well. And what I can tell you, Joe, is that has compounded to a point where in my 30s, I have financial independence and freedom. And it's because all I ever think about is how can I help you? How can I lift you up? And I never lose sight of that. And like, so it's crazy, but like your personal brand matters. The little things that you are like, oh, I'm going to try and get this little win over this person, or I'm going to cheat that person. It's never worth it. Play the long game. Remember that your brand and who you are and how people feel about you is more important than anything. And you have no idea how the small gesture can affect somebody positively or negatively. But if you're listening to this right now and you're wondering, how can I get more business? Start looking to help more people and give more value to people. Become like a concierge in people's life if you need to, right? Look for those moments where you can make somebody feel like, wow, like that Joe guy, he's really incredible. Like, what a nice guy, right? Yeah. And do it without expecting anything in return. Just genuinely give. Come from a place of love.
And it's so funny that you bring that up. You know, don't expect anything in return. I think that that's a big piece, or else it's sales, right? I think as soon as you expect like a trade-off, you're now a salesperson. You're not a trusted advisor. You're not a go-giver. And I think there's a big difference between a salesperson and, again, an advisor or a go-giver. And a lot of people, a lot of new agents we talk to say, well, you know, I've got some amazing sales experience. To me, that's almost a red flag. I'd almost have somebody who's got like almost no experience, because I can train that, but they've got a great personality. They're a go-giver. They're driven. They're focused. They lift people up, and they provide examples of that. I would take somebody on our team with that versus, well, I sold 200 houses last year.
Yeah.
Because to me, there's a huge difference there. And it's funny when we talk about, you know, don't expect anything in return, because I think inadvertently, you know, giving and being a go-giver is the most selfish thing you can do. Do you know why that is?
Why is that?
Because you know how you're going to feel after. It truly is the most selfish thing you could do to be a go-giver, because you do it knowing the feeling you get walking away. It's an odd, somebody mentioned that to me a while back, and I was like, that doesn't even make sense, but it truly is. You're doing it because you know how helping somebody else allows you to feel. You know how it allows you to elevate your personal brand. So I think that that's really important to understand too. And I'll tell you, people who do put those pieces out to the universe, it comes back. I don't know. I'm always torn. Like, do I believe in karma or fate? I don't know. I just think in general, if you're a good person, good shit's going to happen. And I look at like your story, for example. I look at all the people that, when you and I first started this company, you had said, Joe, I've been talking to a lot of people, just helping them off the side of my desk. I'm actually a product of that. If you hadn't have helped somebody off the side of your desk, there's a chance I wouldn't even be here. So I think it's really important to understand, right? It's not going to pay dividends today, tomorrow, next year, 10 years down the line, but it's all about, in some spiritual, cosmic sense, it does pay out in the long run. And it's your brand, man. I think you're hard pressed to find a lot of people that go, oh, that Jason Simard, he's a son of a bitch. I'm sure they're out there.
You know what? Listen, if you become successful at anything, I promise you're going to have haters. But haters, it's their own insecurity that they're projecting onto you. So understand that when people are hating on you, that is them just projecting how they feel inside. And don't take any of that. Yeah, don't take any of that with a grain of salt. Do not allow somebody else's voice to be louder than your own. Believe in yourself. Believe in your values. Surround yourself with the right people. If I've done anything right in my adult life, guys, I've surrounded myself with amazing people that I would genuinely take a bullet for. People that I'd go to war with, right? People that believe in me and I believe in them. And it's that simple. But here's the thing too. So once you have the right environment around you, what you then need to understand that success is a journey. If you don't enjoy the journey of building anything, you're not going to magically find happiness when you hit a certain financial result, whether it's like, oh, I was trying to do $1 million this year, or I'm trying to be a millionaire, whatever. That is so empty if the journey along the way wasn't enjoyable. You have to enjoy the grind. You have to enjoy the ups, the downs, the uncertainty that comes with anything, but that's what makes it sweeter, right?
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck.
Right.
And just understand that like my success that I've had, there was 14, 15 years of building up to that point where that could even be possible that people don't know about, right? It wasn't overnight. So remember, when you're on social media and you're looking at what people's highlight reels are, because that's really what they are, that's like you seeing the end result of years of consistency, discipline, and hard work. So take it easy on yourselves. I mean, listen, there's a guy, shout out to John Sy. If you listen to his story, the guy's super successful, very, very wealthy, right? Done very well in real estate. And you listen to his story, I think he did like 2 home sales in his very first year in real estate. 2. But he just kept persisting and working and staying proactive. And, year 2, his sales went up a little bit, but he never gave up. 15 years later, the guy's a multimillionaire doing phenomenally well. I think back to, somebody close to me, Dean Philpott. He didn't make a single sale in his first 8 months as a realtor. 8 months where he made no money. And he went on to be one of the most successful realtors in Yukon, where he was from, and the rest was history. The guy's, again, done incredibly well and multimillionaire now. These are just small examples of people that I know who have just weathered adversity and just didn't give up. Be patient. Understand that like success will take the time that it takes. Not everybody's going to have a meteoric rise. And the ones that do, I guarantee you there's a foundation that was laid over a long period of time.
And I think another thing to keep in mind is nothing will take the wind out of your sails or make you feel more defeated than comparing yourself to somebody else. Comparison is known to like suck the joy out of any accomplishment. It really is, sort of looking, well, yeah, I did 61 sales last year. Man, that guy did 63. Yes, have that competitive fire, but also appreciate your own journey. Look at your own struggles and just, again, surround yourself with great people. Yeah.
Everybody's scorecard's different.
They are.
Listen, here's an item of value that I want to end today on, okay? This is a common mistake that many of you are making, and so I'm going to go through an exercise with you guys right now on how you can fix this. It's the how's the market question. Joe, I want you to ask me how the market is, and I'm going to show you guys exactly. And get your notepads out. If you're listening right now, get your notepad out. Come back to this one and listen to it, because this right here will add 6 figures as a real estate agent to your bottom line in 2023 if you just learn how to master this. Ask me how the market is, Joe.
How's the market, Jay?
You know what, Joe? That's a great question. There's a lot of complexity and moving parts to the market. What part are you most curious about?
I think about buying, actually.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask, what is it about your circumstances that have changed that have sort of prompted you to explore that idea?
We saved up enough for a down payment over the last couple of years, and even with interest rates going up, I think that house prices have kind of come down more than interest rates have gone up. So my purchasing power is still there, and I don't want to pay rent anymore, man.
All right, cool. That's exciting. You mentioned somebody else involved in the decision. What was your partner's name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Okay, great. And how does Ryan feel about this potential move in the future?
It's just pillow talk right now. So
just pillow talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has he given you any opinion at all?
No. He's very passive.
He's very passive. Okay, cool. Well, let's just play this out. Say you were to make a move in the future. What type of home would you envision yourself and Ryan living in?
We definitely don't need anything bigger than a 2-bedroom. I work from home. Ryan currently is unemployed, so it's just basically my income carrying us. But yeah, I would just say 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Looking for a condo or a townhouse. We're not quite there on a single family detached as of yet.
Okay. We'll pause the role play. Mm-hmm. You see the difference there, though? Yeah. Did I make any recommendation? Did I become a teacher and just bore you to death with all my knowledge?
Not at all.
No. I focused on you and understanding your circumstances. And so this is the big mistake that many of you are making. Somebody asks you how the market is. Oh, the market, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. With interest rates going up, it's a great time to buy right now. And you start giving lots of knowledge and information. And here's the truth. Nobody cares what you know until they know that you care.
There you go.
If I don't know exactly what your goals are, what your achievements that you're looking to have out of this whole potential transaction in the future is, I haven't earned the right to start recommending anything to you. Literally, if you are having a conversation with a prospect and you don't know what they're looking for, why they'd be looking in the first place, who'd be involved, like the who, what, where, when, why, then you are selling out of sequence. And the reality is you're not going to get the success that you want from your business because you're selling. Nobody wants to be sold. Mm-hmm. People would like to have solutions tailored based on their needs. Understand that. So I'll break it quickly back down. Okay. So I started with acknowledging you, Joe. That's a great question. There's a lot of complexity and moving parts to the market. Building authority, right? Showing like, hey, listen, this sounds like it's something that requires a professional, an advisor. What part of the market are you most curious about? I use soft language there, right? That language invites you to slowly open up. I didn't say, well, are you looking to buy or sell? Because that's very committal and you're not at that point yet. I don't even know that would be the case. I'm trying to get you to open up. So your language and the words that you use matter. So practice, how's the market? Now, Joe, try and take me off my game a little bit with how's the market and try and veer me down the path of getting me to tell you all about the market. So basically where I'm dumping on you and being a teacher and just telling you all my knowledge. So instead of saying that you're thinking about buying, maybe say, well, I'm just curious about the market itself.
Well, I'm just curious about the market itself.
You know what, Joe? I'd love to talk about the market in more detail with you. But before I do that, do you mind if I just ask you a few more questions?
Sure.
Because there's so much complexity and moving parts to the market, what part do you think would be more in line with what your future real estate goals might be?
Yeah, like I said, don't really know what I want to do. Just kind of curious what the market is, an overview.
Okay. So there's not something in your current circumstance right now that maybe isn't quite working for you that might have you exploring this in the future?
Not so much, no.
No? Okay. There's a terrible question that I just asked right there. Very focused, very closed-ended. And now I'm like, oh God, I don't have this guy opening up anymore.
The plane's going into the
plane's
going
to the side of the mountain. And so here's the deal. This is why you practice, right? I practice these scenarios. So I'm going to get this back on track. Well, Joe, obviously there's a lot of complexity to the market like we discussed. Right now, there's some incredible opportunities that have presented themselves. These are the types of opportunities that can be once in a lifetime for most people. And I'm curious for yourself, again, thinking about the future, Joe, what do you think would be the most relevant opportunity that you could see yourself being involved with real estate?
Probably looking at an investment property.
An investment property. Okay, cool. And what would be your experience that you've had in the past with investment properties?
Had 2 or 3, never held one for more than 2 years, just kind of maxed them out and then popped the equity and then ended up flipping it.
Okay, awesome. And currently, do you hold any other investment properties?
No, not currently.
Okay, so you're thinking about maybe getting back in. And what would you say your main objective is from the investment property?
Again, just they're going to be longer term holds, I think, this time around.
Okay, so something that's going to cash flow, provide income in your account, cover its expenses, has long-term appreciation that you might be able to leverage. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then what types of areas are you open to when it comes to investing?
I'd like to be around the university district, I think.
Okay.
Just looking at how much rent goes for down there. So.
Okay, cool. There you go. So there's a few tips, guys, on how you can handle the how's the market question. And even somebody like myself, who I would say I'm a black belt at this stuff, I can get caught off guard every once in a while where I realize I didn't ask a great question. I can self-identify that quickly on the spot, get myself back on track. But yeah, if this is helpful, make sure you guys subscribe, comment below. If there's some objections that you're facing that you'd love for us to handle on an upcoming podcast, love to hear them. Reach out to us as well. If you are looking to elevate your game in real estate, in business, this is what we do every day. Like, this is our passion. We love doing this, and we've helped a lot of people build healthy 6- and 7-figure empires, and we'd love to do the same thing for you. So, Joe, as always, a pleasure.
Always.
All right, let's go.
See you.